Post a tweet. There we go. Stream is loading. Still loading. Still loading. Still loading. 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 Alright, we've been out for like 60 seconds. Hello, YouTube! Welcome to the stream. I am here with our friend Carnage25. Down here to talk to you about some pots. Now, my favorite potted plant is definitely the begonias or tulips. I can't really decide. My mother's favorite is lavenders, but you know, no, I'm just fucking with you guys. We're talking about pot of Greek shit. Pot of cards in quotations.
First off, I love the intro. It sounded like I know you never watched the show, but you sounded like Clayface from Harley Quinn. Carnage 25.
Alright, here we are on EDR Pro because I am lazy and don't feel like using MS Paint this week.
No, shocker.
Shocker.
Alright, so God, we're talking about pot cards. Alright, I got my list up, and then I know we had our lists, and then we got the list. So
yeah, so I guess I'm starting off here with benevolence, huh?
The bottom of the barrel. I mean,
Number 10, pot of benevolence. All right, so we'll start off by reading off this card's effect. Select 2 cards from the graveyards, or from either player's graveyard, and then shuffle that. And shuffle them into their owner's decks. After activation, remove this card from play instead of sending it to graveyard. You can only activate 1 pot of benevolence per turn. I mean, it's cool to recycle shit in the graveyard, which is kind of nice in some situations. But I mean, that's all it does. It doesn't let you draw. It doesn't like do anything else, and it banishes itself, so it's not like you can add it back off a Demock or anything like that. You can't even add it back off Magician Fate. Like, it doesn't do anything even in older formats when it came out.
Although you gotta admire the creativity on how it removes itself from play, so that you can't recycle it back to use it again, because it's such a powerful effect.
Oh, definitely. Can't allow Transmigration Prophecy to shuffle back Transmigration Prophecy.
Thank you. I was trying to think of the trap that this card was based off of, and I'm like, yeah, if this was a quick play, this would definitely be a better version of Prophecy.
Yes.
And probably would. Was that
Instantly, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
I mean, that's really all there is to it. Like, it's just benevolence. Next one up. Are you snagging that one?
Yeah, I'll talk about Pot of Riches. For anyone who's never heard of this card, which I don't blame you, because I don't think it's ever seen play on any event, locals or otherwise. Shuffle 3 Pendulum Monsters into the deck from the graveyard or face up extra deck, then draw 2 cards.
Is it sad that I played this? Is it sad that I played? Sorry, I'm gonna shut up. I'm not supposed to do this. Talked about this. I'm sorry.
Okay, so so you can only activate 1 Riches per turn, and you cannot special summon the turn you activate this effect, except for Pendulum Summoning. So honestly, this was kind of lower on my. This was number 10 for my list, mainly because it kind of defeats the purpose of what Pendulum Summoning was intended to do, albeit summoning from the extra deck, not putting them back into the deck, but shuffling them back into the deck. Yes, you get a +1, but it kind of defeats the purpose. It kind of goes against its own mechanic. putting monsters from the extra deck back into the main deck, where you'd rather keep them in the extra deck so that you can pendulum summon them out. But not to mention locking the owner into just pendulum summoning, where anyone who's ever played this game, pendulum deck or otherwise, knows that pendulum summoning is used to go into the other summoning mechanics, i.e., fusion, Xyz, link, synchro. Just pendulum summoning allows you to extend further into that. And honestly, Riches just kind of blocking you into that just really defeats the purpose of no pendulum player will ever play this card. No matter, there are better pot cards and better draw cards to play aside from this. This card will never see play in any pendulum deck, which is wicked funny because that was the intent, was for this card to be for pendulum decks.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm not gonna lie, I did actually play this in a few of my pendulum builds. I'm definitely not wincing over here in the corner at the thought of thinking this was a good card.
Yeah, probably a good time to discuss my payment for being on these streams. You're a little behind.
Actually, speaking of payment, no. Harvard Cardman actually asked what kind of top tens are we discussing? We're doing potted plants. So like I said, tulips, begonias, lavender. I mean, you know, I guess no. All right. Let's get back to the actual bullshit at hand.
After Riches, we got Dectonomy, which I believe it or not, this card actually saw some play for maybe a quick format, and then a better pot card was released shortly afterward. So at the start of main phase 1, that's already the first problem with this card. Target 3 monsters of different types in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, and then draw 2 cards, and you have to skip your battle phase the turn you use this card. So right off the bat, this card is unusable because there's not going to be anything in your graveyard at the start of your main phase unless your opponent is well, nowadays that's not the case because you have tier limits, but back in the day when when Dectonomy first came out, closest deck that could run this card was Lightsworns, because Lightsworns have different types in their are capable of sending cards to graveyard, sending their stuff to graveyard, and they do run multiple types. But at the start, you can only use it at the start of your main phase 1 when your graveyard's empty. When there's realistically no one's going to hold on to this card until the following turn. Again, this was for a very slow format, but it only obviously there were better pot cards that came out shortly after this one, which we'll go format later. But yeah, no. And then even back in the day, nowadays, we don't care about skipping our battle phase. Half the time, skipping the battle phase is not the worst cost in the game right. If it means you're going to push your board, your opponent cannot play through. But back in the day with this card, I mean, not being able to conduct your battle phase in addition to just having a useless card that you not only have to set up for, but you can't use until your following turn, this card was just, like I said, it saw some play compared to Riches and Benevolence. That's the only reason why it's slightly higher on the list.
I mean, obviously the best deck that skipped their battle phase being Element Saber.
Yes, how could we forget Element?
How could we forget Element Saber? Definitely not a card that's specifically used to shuffle back, put 3 cards and draw 3 every turn. I don't know what you're talking about.
We will excuse the fact that you actually tried to run Pot of Riches, only because I know you tried to run our next card, and this is by far an infinitely better card.
All right, so Harvey replied, "Sick, bro. I love me some potted plants. Screw those in-ground plants, though. Get with the times, right?" Come on, motherfucker. No, we need to get with the times though. But yeah, no. So we checking out some pot cards to talk about. Definitely not legalizing weed. And okay, no. I can't be talking about shit like that. Uh, you know, no, definitely not on YouTube. Not on YouTube. Not like that. Not around Yu-Gi-Oh content, man. All right. Let's be legit here. My
Yep.
my next
We'll
card, if I'm correct.
Play this game.
Yeah, no. Pot of Acquisitiveness, actually. So, lovely card. Targets 3 banished monsters, shuffle them into the deck. So it can't target face down banished cards, obviously, because it doesn't just say banished cards, it has to specifically target monsters, and it targets. And then draw 1 card. So you can, basically, if your opponent tries to target any of their banished monsters to special summon them, you can cause it to misfire, or fizzle, or resolve without effect. Anyway, you can just remove the target from the banished pile. Otherwise, it can allow you to shuffle back your banished resources, like a lot of decks like to. Hell, Bestial right now loves to banish cards. It would allow you to put your allow you to recycle your banished Bestials, banished attributes, or for the Medora combos, you can shuffle back your banished Ishizu cards, for example, and then draw 1, but those are just some fringe cases. But back when it was actually slightly played, it was generally used in macro decks. Stuff like fucking Macro Stun, Necroface, Grenmaju Turbo. Random shit like that, you know. Oh shit, yeah, no shit's already legal there. I know it's already legal.
Oh.
I know where shit's legal. I look it up before I think about going places. But anyway.
So yeah. Well, what I liked about this, is like, yeah, you were saying, like decks like Infernoids that just banish their shit, and then allowing you to recycle it, and then you even get a draw off of it. I think it's funny how, I guess the trade-off with this, it's the only pot card that you only draw 1 card off of. I mean, so it's already better than Benevolence.
Yeah, no, it's definitely way better than Benevolence already, but I see what you're looking at. Like, I don't see... I mean, yeah, we only get to draw 1 card, but think about it this way as well. Daigusto Emerald, for example, is basically the same card, it's a monster, and it shuffles from graveyard instead, right? Yeah. Look at the Monarch Trap card that lets you shuffle 2 cards back and draw 1 card. You know, well, there's plenty of in-house cards that do the same thing, but...
Right. But my mindset is that I guess the fact that, yeah, it's the only pot card that lets you draw 1, but it's also the only pot that's a quick play. Yes. So I guess that was the trade-off. We designed this. Otherwise, if this let you drew 2 after shuffling, like, this would have been just a better decktonomy if it let you draw 2 instead of 1.
Could you imagine fucking what is it, Necroface decks? Necroface would be still limited to 1 if this card was draw 2.
Well, again, I think the trade-off is because it's a quick play and you can fire it on your opponent's turn also, so it's kind of a better jar of greed, or I guess in that regard, in some situations. But yeah, no, it does require setup. But the fact that it's a quick play and you can use it to disrupt your opponent, and it does get you a draw. I mean, it's definitely deserves its. What are we on, number 7 right now on our list? Yeah. No, so
go ahead.
No, that's all. That's all I was going to say, is that inquisitiveness being a quick play, being a means of disruption, which is, again, just kind of what the other 3 we were talking about was kind of like made to be. as being good support. And yeah, I mean, being a quick play is probably the best trade off with this.
No, absolutely. I do have to say, I will agree that this next one is probably your favorite over the rest
This
of
card,
the cards on this list. I must say.
well, this card is my number one on my list just because of the history with it. I both love and hate this card, but I can
Understand that.
you well, yeah, we'll talk about why we put it here. So this is number 6, Pot of Avarice.
Yes.
This card, anybody who lives under a rock or has never played Yu-Gi-Oh, you target 5 monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them in the deck, and then draw 2 cards. This card was banned for quite a while, like most of these pot cards were, either limited or banned. Now it's back at 3, and of course, probably the most infamous deck in recent history that would gladly run 3 copies of this was Zodiac. Being able to just several keys in the graveyard and then just shuffle them all back to draw 2 cards.
What's that Duelist Alliance format flashbacks? Who said anything like that? I don't know what you're talking about.
But Avarice was the best deck, or the deck that I remember this card being abused heavily in was like decks like fabled synchro decks, or decks that that was my first big experience with Avarice. And then at a more competitive level was the synchro it was the synchro spam deck that went into like multiple Trishes or multiple Quasars.
Oh, the hand loop FTKs.
Yeah, those fun ones. Yeah, Avarice has just been a dick for a while.
Oh, another deck that could abuse it was Gishkis. The hand loop they did.
Oh, heavily. Oh yeah, heavily. Avarice has just been an integral part in Yu-Gi-Oh's history for quite a while. Still sees played to this day. The problem Avarice runs into more than anything, which is one of the key reasons why we knocked it to number 6 on our list, is because of the fact that, unlike most of these cards, which you just have to like ash it to stop it, this card you just got to screw with one of the 5 targets in the graveyard. It doesn't say shuffle any 5 back into the deck.
Shuffle those
to draw
targets.
2. So as long as it has that ruling, or it's worded that way, your opponent can just DD Crow it, or in nowadays Bestial slap
Actually,
it.
no, they updated the text. It says shuffle all 5
monsters.
now.
Yeah, shuffle all 5. Still
because
you have to shuffle.
Yeah, because it's still target says 5 specifically. Yes.
Yeah, no. If it didn't matter, like if it just said shuffle 5 monsters in your graveyard back into the deck and then draw 2, we'd be having a different conversation, because then it didn't matter what the only time at that point it would be slightly different, where if you only had exactly 5 in the graveyard and you couldn't shuffle 5 back, then it would get stopped. But no, because you have to target exactly 5 and your opponent can disrupt it. The other drawback with Avarice, honestly, is that you're not really digging deeper into your deck. You're now, for decks that shuffle back their extra deck monsters, this card is just basically a Pot of Greed that lets you essentially recycle back 5 monsters back into your extra deck. But otherwise, if you're putting monsters back into your main deck, it's limiting the chance. It's kind of hindering on that +1 aspect of Avarice, where you're increasing the chances that you're just gonna. For some cases, it's fine. You want to see those cards again, but for some situations, you're just basically you're mainly want to get the +1, but this card's not going to be for you then, because you're going to be putting cards back into your main deck, decreasing the chances that you're actually digging deeper into your deck to try to get something to get you out of a situation. Avarice, like I said, nowadays it's there are definitely better options, but for decks that can play around its shortcomings, or be able to go up against what the opponent might use to disrupt it, Avarice is still like an extremely good card to run.
So, would you like to hear about an interesting Avarice-like card that is very well used in decks like, well, specifically Link spam decks?
What do you guys?
There's a card called Link Bound. It's a quick play spell. It's target a Link monster in your graveyard. Put it back in your extra. Oh, sorry, it's on field or in grave. So it lets you.
It's a Saryuja, right?
No, it's basically Saryuja Shackles, but it's a quick play spell. It lets you draw up to equal to the Link rating.
Yeah, but then you have to shuffle like.
Yeah, it's literally basically. I think it's like you return 3, or it's like you return basically the same number you drew.
Yeah, so it's more or less like a reload in that case. Well, yes and no. It's definitely. I don't know. At least with Avarice, yeah, I see where you're going with it. It's at least with Avarice, it replaces itself. Plus, it's a +1, like all pot cards should be. Mm-hmm. Whereas Linkbound, you're not plussing anything. You're drawing, but then you're putting the same amount back into your deck. You're basically doing a -1.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're not really. It's fucking Magical Mallet, man. Like it's Magical Mallet that recycles fucking a Link monster. Cool. That's really all it does. But in some decks it's bad, but we'll talk. Let's go up to number 5.
Yeah. This one. So not even just our number 1. That out of extravagance is probably the closest thing we'll get to like a Pot of Greed errata, not counting another card that probably a lot of people are thinking about on this list. But basically, this card, what I like about this card is the fact that it takes a lot of the characteristics of previous pot cards, but does it better in so many different ways. So if you, again, never heard of this card before, at the start of main phase 1, banish 3 or 6 random face down cards from your extra deck, face down, obviously, and then draw 1 card for each 3 cards banished. So you banish 3, you draw 1. That's rarely going to be the case. You're going to banish 6 because you want the +1. You're going to draw 2. For the rest of this turn, you cannot draw any more cards by card effects. So in other words, for decks that... Oh yeah, you can still search. You can still do cheeky stuff like... you can do cheeky stuff like putting cards from like bottom of deck to top of the deck or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, extravagance based for decks that that need the draw power or don't have it and don't care about their extra deck. Extravagance is the card for you. Again, we're coming back to the whole technicality of it has to be the first card that you activate at the start of main phase 1, mm-hmm. Which keeps it kind of mid on this list, just because it's the first, like half the time with these pot cards, you'd want to try to bait out your opponent's Ash Blossom before trying to fire them off. But with Extravagance, you can't do that. It's the first card has to be this card at the start of your main phase 1. No ifs, ands, or buts. And if it gets ashed, then at least that opens up like the other cards that you would try to activate that would normally get ashed. But again, it's just kind of backwards as far as like the strategy behind this card. But again, mindset for any Yu-Gi-Oh player is a +1's a +1. You know, you're going to take the advantage that you can get, and if you even for decks that need their extra deck, or at least somewhat want to use their extra deck for their strategies, there are ways to build your extra deck so that Extravagance's random banish cost is not really going to affect you that much. So we've played several decks with this card. When you heard the excitement in my voice when this card was reprinted in the branded structure deck. It was just dumb that you could get this card as a common, and again, it doesn't do it won't do anything if you build your extra deck right. Which again, for decks like Despia or decks that want to play like super poly targets or anything like that, like you can just double up on your monsters in your extra deck, and extravagance doesn't do anything to you.
Oh yeah, no. The first time I played like branded Shadal, for example, before we had the chance to really get like the actual full Despia core, um, that's what I did. We just main decked the 3 extravagance. Worked out great. I never banished both Winda. Never banished both Mirror Jade either. You know, it was nice. I generally hit like 1 copy of each super poly target as well. So you never really had to worry about hitting the cards you needed. More or less, when you drew I drew a lot into either spells and traps that would help me push my plays, or other combo pieces that would help me, you know, further along my fucking setup.
This card like just opened so many doors for a lot of decks. Just thinking about it, like friggin' I know True Draco, like their biggest play card was Card of Demise, but I mean this card was just basically like the replacement for it. You also had dinos that could use this card because they didn't care about the extra deck. Hell, Eldritch, Infernoids, like Eldritch, there's Eldritch player on this card. It's just wicked good. It's just good for what it does.
No, absolutely. Extra's a very decent card. The only restriction being that it has to be the first card you play, and it has to be the you know, it's basically the only card that lets you draw. You're not like if you draw into any other draw spells that you play, you're going nowhere with those cards. You know.
If you're running like trade in allures, upstarts, and shit like that, it would just be extrav, and then whatever the shit ton of searching like potential that your deck can do. It's just extravagance. So it's just it's basically pot agreed with an errata.
Exactly.
I believe you got number 4, right?
Oh, I do. Do I? The duality. All right.
Not to put you on the spot, but you want to.
I thought I was taking Desises.
You are. You got the next 2.
Oh no shit! I mean, I guess I just didn't. I may have not have read the cardboard in front of my face.
Not to put you on the spot, but when you talk about a card that revolutionized Yu-Gi-Oh's history, you know, good luck. Good luck. No pressure.
So, long story short, back in the olden days, when the best draw spell we had in the game was Upstart Goblin. And you know,
true.
Oh no, it really was about that time when like Upstart, like this was back when like X-Saber was like really a force to be reckoned with, if you know what I'm saying. Back when like Rescue Cat was at 3, and before pre-errata Rescue Cat and shit, you know. Some of them on combo, dude. The dueling, what was it? Dueling Network replay. Fucking.
Oh yeah.
I'm really dating myself with that one. Yeah, no. So Duality is a cornerstone card that at the time that it came out was just like, even decks that special summoned like what would be considered combo decks at the time was playing still it. Yeah, we still ran it as a 2 of. Still ran it as a 2 of, which I don't get what the fuck was with people. Was with excuse me. Was with deck lists around this time But 2 of Duality was just like a staple for some people. I don't know if it was because of the price or something. If maybe like, you know, people were just, instead of being able to get the full playset, they were only able to get 2 copies. But like, it was
it was limited or semi-limited.
oh
Once
no, it
upon a
was
time,
straight
right?
up limited. No, they hit
Yeah.
it to 1.
No, this. Yeah.
You know, they hit
No,
Duality to 1 very early on, actually.
for good reason. It's basically add a card from deck as long as it's among the top 3
Oh, with
in your deck.
well, because think about it this way too. You play 3 Duality, 3 Upstart Goblin, and then 3 of a card note called Card Advanced, or fuck it, Book of Taiyuan, the flip monster that lets you top deck 3. Top deck, look at the top 5, right? You could basically, in a stun
Who
build,
you're talking about? I just
his name is like, I think it's literally Big Eye, and it's like the other Big Eye, the Big Eye before the Big
just
Eye.
like. Well, no, there was Big Eye that let you see the top 5 cards in your deck and then rearrange them.
Yeah, and then there's
But-
Card Advance, which lets you get an extra. I think it's normal summon or tribute summon. No, tribute summon of a monster. And then lets you just literally rearrange the top 5. Then you go Duality. Look at the top 3. Oh, hey, look, Upstart. Activate Upstart. Oh, hey, look, would you look at that top, card? Draw again. Like, you could basically stack your draws for the turn. Or stack your search. If you really wanted to.
Duality has just been like its history is the main reason why it's so high on this list. Because I mean, like you were just saying, like friggin' everyone like decks, like yeah, its only restriction is that you can't special summon the turn you activate this. But again, you're right. Decks that were just even combo decks like still wanted to run this card. Hell, this card is still seeing play with cards like Pot of Extravagance because it doesn't draw; it adds.
Yeah.
So it's like it just goes around that fucking ruling issue with cards like Extravagance, which makes it so that you can't draw for the rest of it.
Budget Flunder builds right now. Look at local Flunder builds, or like, oh, I guess not locals, more like regionals. If you can find them, if they can't afford the prosperities, they will play 3 Extravagance because it's a common. 3 Duality because Duality's like, it might not be, a $2 or like $3 card. It might be like 5 to 10, because of the print, how low printing is. But the popularity of Flunder has been dropping off, which has been nice. So you're seeing the engines become a little more budget, and you're seeing other decks start to take higher priority because newer sets are coming out to push them out of the format. But
Duality. No, it's still good to this day. Like this is the pot card that not only saw like the most competitive play, even more than like the pot card that we still haven't even gone over. Like the key pot card that started all of this has not seen that much competitive play compared to this card.
I mean, exactly, like literally exactly.
But again, that's also because of just how like the history was. Like Yu-Gi-Oh was a lot slower and the events were not as big as they are nowadays. But when they started picking up and people were going more to events and shit like that, it's like Duality came out at that time where Yu-Gi-Oh was probably at the height of its popularity, and it just excelled this card in lists like this as far as just its history. Again, still not like top 3 worthy. Like, its history speaks for itself.
I will put it. I will explain it to the audience and to people who have played it, either have played for a long time or don't know much about the Yu-Gi-Oh like scape as far as its history, but have watched the show History of Yu-Gi-Oh. This card was about as impactful as not necessarily Dark Arm Dragon, but another card that came out and was very stable around that time. I believe it was Crush Card, or was it Deck Devi that came out around that time? I think it was Crush Card, right?
Crush Card came out before Duality, but I think it's safe to say Deck Devi came out around.
Well, no, I'm
the
talking
time
about
of
like
Duality.
the amount of impact it had on the meta.
Oh, the amount. Oh, yeah.
No,
yeah,
like it was
I mean, no.
About that impactful on the game state when it was released. People, it was that sought after. You know, like people were. I mean, it definitely wasn't that expensive, but people were clamoring to get it the minute they could.
No, no, you're correct. You're correct in that. For a card, if we're talking about cards that like change the tide in a duel like the most, Duality's up there.
Especially back in my day. No.
Old timer.
All
right. All right, and
yeah, I'm catching the next one here.
You got the next one.
Yep. So our good old top 3 spot is gonna go to, if I can frickin' find it, but I don't read the alphabet because I don't read. We're gonna go with the good old -9, to quote my friend Harvey Cardman in the chat. Desires. The reason why it's in the top 3 rather than most of the other cards, because it, like, unlike Avarice, it can't be hit with DD Crow or anything like that, or it can only be hit by Ash.
-10.
Oh, it is a.
This is a
fucking -13. What are you talking about, buddy?
This card should be lower on the list. This is a -10.
Oh, absolutely no. When this card first came out, the controversy around this card was the best shit ever. The arguments between players being like, "Oh my god, it's a -9," and "Oh, what if you get Ash?" Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, I just love. No. Go ahead.
When you sent me, like, you were the one that called me up from work and told me about this card coming out, and I'm just like, so it's pot of greed with an errata. It's literally just pot of greed, and it's like, but no, I see where people are coming from, but like, but no, like anybody that understands this game competitively or understands the fact that, like, as far as card advantage goes, it's like, no, if the cards are in your deck, they're useless. Like, useless. But the fact that people were, like, so against this card at the time where it was like, okay, fine, then don't buy it. More for me, because this card is just that fucking good.
Yeah, no. It's... I see where people decide that this card is not a good card. I think this card is a horrible card for decks that specifically need their garnets.
Like,
for just decks that specifically need their garnets. Like, they just have these one-ups, like, hell, take Danger Dark Worlds, for example. They're one-ups like Zephyros, Armageddon Knight, Greffer. You desires those, and you're sitting there, well, what the fuck am I going to send off this Armageddon and Greffer sitting in my hand? Now that I've banished my 1 copy of Zephyros, my 2 copies of Grapha, you know, you're just sitting there just staring at these face down 10 cards and looking at them like, well, I'm not recovering these anytime soon. Unless you're gonna hard normal summon Necroface, you're not getting those shits back. So I do see why people think that this card should be at the lower spot, but also look at it this way.
This card's limited to 2 right now for a reason.
No, exactly, because like not even just because of Tenyis, but also like the deck that abused the deck that abused this the most when it first came out was Pendulums.
Oh yeah,
because they just to make their shit went off, they had to run like
they
3 copies
needed
of their
the
shit.
6 cards in hand. pendulum decks after a certain point, they needed just the 6 card in hand. You know, it's...
But look at how many don't run this card because of the cost of Banish 10, and like even playtesting this, like if you run a deck of all 2-ofs, like just you have 2 copies of everything in your deck, that's still a very low chance of banishing like all your combo pieces to after you get that.
You know, the only point at which it is dangerous to do to activate a card like Desires is probably at like when your deck count is so low. I'd say like under 20 cards. Under 20 cards in your deck count is probably when you shouldn't be activating a Desires, in my opinion. Because yeah, then you're hitting, you know, all of your good extenders, all of your good combo pieces and things like that. But if it's like turn 1 and you've like searched 1 or 2 cards and you still got like 30, you know, 35 some odd cards in your deck, fuck it. Banish 10. Draw 2 cards. You know, go fucking out 12 cards out of your deck. Because then you're likely to hit other combo pieces or hand traps. You know? Like, after you set up your board, the extra 2 cards are great. Could be an extra...
No,
Sorry, go ahead.
What kills me too is the fact that the people that had the argument against Desires are probably the people that needed it the most, because they refused to cut like that 3 of down to like 1 or 2 copies because they didn't need like those extra copies. But with Desires, it cut, like, that's the thing. Desires is just so good in pretty much any deck, as long as you build your deck so that it's like, okay, well, I got clutter in my deck. This cuts the clutter and gives me a +1.
Oh, take an earlier deck like Infernoble back when Smoke Grenade was big, right? Infernoble could have... Imagine Infernoble with 3 Desires. I think they played Desires.
They did, because they could search Smoke.
Simple as this.
Be added to hand.
You had 7 searchers for Durandal. You had 7 searchers for your combo pieces. Because everything it is a fire warrior. You don't have to worry, like, your consistency is at its highest. You don't care about the freaking other 2 copies of Durandal after you fired the first one. Or the other copy of Rhoda. Like,
I have to...
Go ahead.
What's your theory on the semi-limiting or the original limiting of Desires? Was it really to hit Tenyi, or was it because too many people were bitching when after banishing 10 cards, the 2 of their cards be of their copy?
Alright, so 100% copium here. 100% copium here. Like, I'm high on copium right now. Kind of situation.
I'm totally down with the conspiracy that it was all Konami's fault. They 100% are tired of us complaining. The next card on the chopping block is 100% extravagance, because people are tired of drawing the other 2 extravagance off the other extravagances.
Which I have done, by the way. Totally has happened. Like, in-game. Like, at locals. It has happened to me. Well, it's not fun.
I still remember the memes of people like firing Desires, banishing, and then their next 2 cards they drew were the other 2 copies of Desires, and they're just like, fuck this game. It's like, well, that's not a problem now. You can guarantee you're at least going to see like 1 Desires, but you know the other card might be useful.
No, I got you. You know what I activate then? I activate that spell card that lets me ditch the other 2 Desires in my hand to add any spell card from my graveyard to my hand, add back the other Desires.
But it's just that it's just funny too. Because think about it, they didn't even have like that's the thing. This is 100% the best representation of like how Konami thinks, as far as, hey, we have an iconic card that's banned on on the Forbidden List for years. This would have been the best errata to get it off the list. But instead, they wanted to make their money and freaking made this new card that was literally just, just our number 2 pick, but with a cost, basically.
I think Pot of Greed could just come back to
And
one
it
and
just killed-
like it would change nothing.
It's, I don't know, you say that, but it's like it's literally just gonna.
It will be played.
What-
Yes. It will be the New Age
about-
Upstart Goblin. It will be the New Age Upstart Goblin. That's what it will be.
No, people would run this with Upstart Goblin, and it's essentially like running 3 Upstart Goblins again.
There you go.
Like pretty much just this with Upstart, like
No, okay. You know what it would
honestly,
be?
I don't even
It would
know
be ash
what-
bait. It would be 100% ash bait.
What, the Upstart Goblin? I don't think so.
No. The Pot of Greed.
Yeah, we just gonna jump into number 2 right now.
I mean,
So
I
what
guess
else can
we'll
we
hit
talk
the
about
yeah.
after Desire?
We might as well hit it. All you. I activate. Would you like to say it?
Yeah, I'll draw 2.
Yeah, I activate Pot of Greed. Go ahead, friend.
Yeah, no, number 2 on our list, and I'm sure a lot of people and a lot of other people, anyone else would probably put this number 1 on the list, but we have our reason. Pot of Greed. Funny enough, it's a weird topic to talk about. First of all, it's the card that everyone has played. Anybody that's ever touched this game once in their life. This card is just it's Pot of Greed. I don't know what else to say about it.
Meme on the world.
It's fun.
Like in the Yu-Gi-Oh space. Pot of Greed.
So here's the thing. So I've got a friend whose nephew wants to play in the game. My friend has a jar, like the actual like Pot of Greed, like ceramic. Yeah, so he actually has that in his collection, and the kid and his nephew asked about it, and it just kind of killed me on how it's just like you only ever see Pot of Greed as like merchandise. It's only like any of these newer generations or new players are not going to know about this card. When it's the card that literally started this whole line, this whole list that we got going on right now. But really, that's just kind of it. Like that's kind of what hinders it from being number 1 for me, is the fact that I'm big when it comes to these lists. I'm big on not only our personal history, but also the history of the game. Pot of Greed is just legendary because it was the card that was in every deck. It was part of the original 5 that were in like everyone's deck. You had this, Reborn, Change of Heart, Regeki, and Harpies. Or Heavy Storm, depending. So this was
it's the GOAT format. Freaking, it's the GOAT format. What is it? The Holy Trinity of GOAT. Pot of Greed, freaking Graceful Charity, and Delinquent Duo.
But that's just it. But then it was at a time where Yu-Gi-Oh, as far as from a competitive standpoint, or as far as like the events for back in the day, like were not as high or as much represented as they are right now. Like nowadays, we're kind of spoiled where we're able to get updates on events and see what the best decks are playing, and try to like incorporate our strategies to go like what the winning decks are and shit like that. But we're talking about a time where it was like freaking, like everyone's decks were so identical, or so like everyone was just playing this. Everyone was just playing like the same best spells, the same best traps, dark armed or dark armed, or even before dark armed, and like there was just no reason to like really like try to look at this card from like a competitive standpoint. And then when it finally got banned, and then it was like, well, shit. Now it's like, oh shit. Now I guess we have enough draw cards in the game to kind of understand why Pot of Greed's just broken, just because it's probably like the draw card that everyone would play. But at the same time, it's like, it's just weird thinking about this card like being such a good card, but then now it's just like an after. It's almost not. It almost hurts itself
to a point. Funny enough.
And then we've talked about desires. We've talked about extravagance. How they are Pot of Greed just with an errata. So I don't even know what you do to Pot of Greed to like what kind of errata would be worse than those to justify it coming back to 1 on the list. I think the closest we up with as a you and I have that's one of our topics. I think we were going to talk about in like a future thing was like erratas.
Yeah, some cards that we would like to see errated to either once per turn, or
I know,
some errata ideas that we had for cards that would allow them to come off the list, we think.
And I think it was Scrub that came up with, I think, my favorite one when we were talking about Pot of Greed, where it was just like you play it and then your turn ends. So it's like you literally have to like, yeah, no, literally just freaking you can't activate anything. You just set everything, like literally forces you to play like old school Yu-Gi-Oh. You just set everything, fire this off, and your turn ends.
Tis literally card.
But you get a +1.
You know.
Basically making card D. But you can activate it before your turn ends. It's just you have to set everything before ending your turn. You can't activate anything. It makes you play old school Yu-Gi-Oh. If you want to play Pot of Greed, then you got to play like it's old school. Set everything and then pass your turn.
But I activate duality. No. You activate Pot of Greed. You set duality.
So like I said, like the closest thing you're gonna ever see Pot of Greed in is your little mascot on Master Duel. That's it. Like if you were lucky enough to play when that duel pass was out. Otherwise, you're friggin' Pot.
That was season 1.
I know. It's been so long. It's been so damn long. Well, no, but again, even then, it's like friggin' God. It's just, again, this card has an interesting history. It's legendary, but at the same time, compared to the rest of this list, which has such a great history with the competitive, like with everyone, like Pot of Greed sadly like doesn't have the same meaning like it will with like old school players.
I mean, yeah, no, that's entirely fair. Because like Pot of Greed's been banned for an extremely long time. Like, unless you were playing in the 2004 to, like, I think, like, what, 2008 format? No, because they banned it before Reaper format, if I'm correct.
Yes. I think GOAT format was it.
Really? The last time so 2004 format was, like, the last time you could really enjoy playing Pot of Greed. So, like, same could be said about Change of Heart, you know? Like, it was a point in time where cards were getting more like this, where they're like more current, where they're faster, you know, decks, just the pace of the game started to outshine them.
And honestly, that's a good point. It's just that the difference between Change of Heart and Pot of Greed is that the game's evolved where, like, your shit can't be targeted a good chance of the time for Change of Heart to even resolve, or there's just so much negation in this game after your opponent sets up their shit that it's very unlikely Change of Heart's going to go off. But the one thing that's always going to be a constant about this game, no matter how old it gets, is that the guy with the most cards wins. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have the most life points or whatever. If you've got more cards, that's why Max C's banned. Is because if you have more cards than your opponent, you win. And it's like Pot of Greed is just like even just that +1 that can make that can make such a difference. It's weird. It's weird. You're right. The game has evolved where Change of Heart could come off the list. I don't see a point where card advantage is not going to be a key factor in this game to justify Pot of Greed coming off the list without a Heart Errata.
So, my answer to this, or my rebuttal to Pot of Greed coming to 1, right, is honestly probably what you said right there. There is so much negation and so much interruption in this game right now that one copy of a singular spell... actually, wait, never mind. I just remembered a card we're getting literally next set. Yeah, no, motherfucker, errata this shit now. Nope, errata this shit now. I forgore. Totally forgore about the thrusting. I also totally can't get over the stupid fucking name. Why did they name it? Why did they rename a stupid freaking piece of cardboard triple thrusting? Yes, why? Can't we just keep it tasking? What's the problem with tasking? It was...
I guess they thought tactics lunging would have been too inappropriate. Or triple tactics stalking or whatever. I don't know why thrusting. I don't know. That's one of the guys that used to
understand.
One of the guys that used to work with Seth MacFarlane. It was in that meeting. He's like,
dude, no, seriously.
Tactics thrusting. All right. Before this gets too long of a video, which it usually does for us, did you want to just rack through honorable mentions real quick before? Yeah. I think everyone's figured out our number 1 by now.
Yeah, I'll drag up. I'm just gonna throw the number 1 off to the side right now. So right, actually no. Let's get one out of the way before we do this. Because
I call or dishonorable mention.
Oh, entirely. No, that's perfectly fine.
You can have all the honor.
Absolutely. I'll skim through that shit real quick. But this is gonna be the one time that I have to give the number 1 spot to Avatar of the Pot by sending Pot of Greed from your hand to the graveyard. You draw 3 cards from your deck. Do you know how fucking broken this monster is? And he's a rock. Do you know? Add a fucking Emancipator. Could you imagine? Oh wait, I forgot. But Pot of Greed's banned. Never mind, I guess we'll give it to Prosperity.
I did not sign off on that terrible joke.
Yeah, no, absolutely number 1 is 100% Prosperity. So, like, all the same arguments as Duality, where it's top decking a shit... I mean, besides the... Actually, no, it is a huge cornerstone card. Like, there's so many decks are playing Prosperity if they can afford to. It is basically has the same restriction as Extrav, banish 3 or 6, but instead of drawing 1 or 2 cards, you get to proceed to look at either 3 or 6 of the top cards of your deck, and then bottom deck those cards. You don't even shuffle, you just bottom deck them. You add 1 and then bottom deck the other 5. Yes, it prevents you from drawing like Extravagance. But, whereas all of the other pot cards let you only see whether it's drawing or searching via, Duality, they only let you top deck like 1 to 2, at most 3 cards. This lets you dig in an extra 3 to 4 cards, comparatively. And not only look at them, see what your options are, add one to your hand, but you also get to know what the bottom 5 cards of your deck is for the rest of the tool until you shuffle your deck again. I know it doesn't seem like much good information, but in certain decks that turbo out a shit ton.
No. From compared to everything else that we've talked about before this card, so it's not even the fact that this is the newest pot card. That's not the reason why it's the number one. It's the fact that this is if anything the best sign of progression for this game as far as card design, because we've gone through 9 other cards in this list, all of which we've talked about the downgrades of how they function or how players can play around them, or kind of the mindset. This card has taken all of those cards and just given us the best of all of them in this card. Whereas, you're exactly right. It's like Extravagance, only you get to choose the cards that you banish from the extra deck. They're not random. There is no start of maze. You can bait out your opponent's Ash and then fire this off. You are correct. You can't draw cards after using it, but that doesn't mean you can't use this with cards like Duality to dig for like a total of 9 cards deep into your deck to get 1 to 2 cards to your hand. And even with that restriction, it doesn't stop players from using Prosperity in the same decks that would also run Extravagance. Flunder players right now are running like 2 copies of Extrav and 3 copies of Prosperity, for the sole fact of is that if you see Prosperity, it's not like you're going to run into issues like you would with Extravagance or Desires, where one of the cards that you're going to draw is going to be another copy that you can't use. Prosperity, out of your 6 cards that you're revealing, 9 if you count firing off a Duality before or after Prosperity, you're like, if you see other copies of Prosperity or Duality, they're not going in your hand. You can select the better cards to add to your hand to get you out of the situation you're in, or to set up your board. Keep in mind, this is not just because I keep talking about Duality with Prosperity. It's just because they go great together. It's also, this is just a better Duality where it doesn't hinder your combos. If you can fucking combo off, because it does not stop you from special summoning.
No,
you
there
just
is
go
no hindrance
off
behind this card besides the draw effect.
Whatsoever. And who can, like, you can, and again, unlike Extravagance, you don't have to fiddle around with your extra deck and make sure you have multiple copies of certain cards so that your combos can go up.
Pick the cards that you don't care about.
No, you just whatever your situation or your strategy, like the cards that aren't going to work, those are the cards you can use. And again, like half the time players are smart and they don't care about those 3 other cards. They just like the fact that this is a better pot of Duality that does not hinder your summon. Like the fact that it's a Duality, but you can special summon. Like that's the biggest thing. Players will just banish to see the top 3. They don't care about those other 3. No. They're just playing it like Duality. Yeah. But for players that are like, depending on how shit their hand is, if they need to dig deep, they have the option to. I think that's the best part about this card, is the fact that it doesn't matter. Like with Extravagance, it matters. Nobody's gonna fucking banish 3 random cards just to draw 1 card to replace the Extravagance. You are going for that +1. With Prosperity, you don't have to. You can just play it like a Duality. But if you really need, but you have the option to dig deeper if you need to.
Exactly.
This card's just amazing. It's amazing because it can go into all the decks that all the other pot cards can go into, but gives you better alternatives and better options. It's just amazing. Again, it's the newest pot card, but it's the best pot card, honestly. Even more than Pot of Greed, honestly, because it's like entirely. Again, you're talking about. again, looking at it from an advantage standpoint, like yeah, seeing like drawing 2 cards from your deck is always going to be awesome. Digging into your deck 6 cards deep, and then you get to fucking pick the best card to get you to flip the duel around, or to get you ahead, or just to fucking win the game. Prosperity is what does it. Oh, which we're missing. There is one drawback that we're overlooking, and it's the condition of your opponent's only taking half damage.
Yes.
After activating this, so yes, this hinders.
You cannot kill the turn you activated.
You'll pinch them real good. You'll pinch them real good. But I think. But, I think that
there was there. I'll send you a picture. I can't say what I just received.
But the biggest thing about this game, where it is now, is that again, it doesn't matter if you can kill your opponent right away. Hell, look at the cards like Dark Ruler No More, or cards that we've relied on in the past like Soul Charge, where either you deal no damage for that turn or you can't attack that turn. It doesn't matter. This card gives you the advantage that you need to flip the game around. And again, the fact that it even lets you do half damage, in some cases that's not even going to matter. Like these decks can still put on enough damage to like make it so that your opponent is not going to come back like whatsoever. So even with that hindrance on the halving the damage, it still doesn't matter. It still doesn't matter as far as like.
Or you could just summon Mishy on the Time Lord, just half your opponent's life points and laugh.
No, that's true. There are ways around that. Instead of doing damage, you can just there are cards that make your opponent's life points become a certain amount.
Yes,
so there's texting. But again, from just like, again, this card is just everything that we've talked about as far as the past pot cards. Like this card is just shows like that card design has progressed like so much, and this card I don't see it going. I see this card like getting limited at some point. I know it's limited on Master Duel, but that's practically its own video game anyways, not even looking at it like from a TCG standpoint. Prosperity is probably like the next card to get niched on the ban list, if anything. And it would be for good reason. It's just that good.
No, I entirely agree with that statement. All right, so off to the fun stuff.
Like I said, I just want the dishonorable mention. You can have the honorable mentions.
Absolutely. So we'll cut through this like butter. If I can type. There it is. God damn it. Get in the side deck. That should be the full list, right? Oh, Upstart. That's what I'm missing. Excuse me, game. I would like to type. Thank you. Alrighty then. So, for honorable mentions, we have Upstart. It's simple enough, gain 1,000, draw a card. Graceful Charity was part of the original Trinity with Pot of Greed. It's not a pot card. Can't throw it in the list of pot cards. It's an honorary pot card. Jar Robber, just because it's funny. Because if your opponent activates Pot of Greed, you draw a card instead. The Jar of trap cards being Jar of Greed, Jar of Generosity, and Jar of Avarice. Fuck Jar of Generosity though, because it's just it's funny. Fuck it, I don't care. Reckless Greed, always a good card. Was played for a very long time. was actually played a lot with Duality.
Yes, yeah. Reckless Greed was wicked good, despite its drawback, which half the time you lost because of that drawback. But yeah,
no, it was very much. You very much had to kill that turn after Reckless Greeting.
All right, I prepared all video for this.
All right, go for it.
Pot of Generosity is a garbage card. It's an instant -3, and it is just an absolute waste of space in anyone's fucking deck. The biggest argument I've had against this card was the fact that Infernities could use it to try to empty their hands more. No sane Infernity player or any player would ever think to fucking play Pot of Generosity just to put 2 cards in their hand back into their deck. You'd rather have those cards in the graveyard or even fucking banished nowadays. Pot of Generosity is garbage, and if you think otherwise, then you are a garbage player and deserve to die.
I feel better.
Yeah,
that was our dishonorable. That was our dishonorable mention. The only pot card that would never ideally be on anyone's radar whatsoever.
Yeah, literally. Motherfucker, Gold Mooncoin's a better card. That literally puts 2 of your cards in your opponent's hand. But it lets you draw 2.
Right, but you get to draw 2 though. Like they replace. This card is just a -3. What's the benefit? You get to shuffle your deck. Good for you. You got to shuffle your deck.
No. I got you.
Mission.
There is a better card called Shuffle. I shit you not. I shit you not.
This card, it's just terrible. I don't know why this was made. This is like not even this. I don't even know why. It's like it honestly was an afterthought until we were looking up the pot cards to make this list, and it was like, oh my god, I forgot about this hot garbage. Why is this here?
No, there's literally just a card that says just shuffle your deck.
I even just hate his face. His face, like the fact that now is it his face or Benevolent's face that's on Duality?
I don't fucking know.
It looks actually no. That is it. That's the only reason for Generosity to exist, was so they could have the artwork for Duality. No, because that's the same face, but it's uglier on its actual artwork. I just hate this guy. I hate this card.
No, hold up. Generosity is on Prosperity.
Generosity is on.
Look at the back of Prosperity.
Yeah, it's diminishing Prosperity's friggin' artwork for me. Hell, the fact that you took Generosity and Riches, it's like 2 of probably the worst pot cards in the game, not counting Benevolence, and fucking made it into the #1 fucking pot card in the game.
Oh, I actually hit the sort button, so now all the pot cards are out of order.
That's whatever. No, that was pretty much it.
No, we're wrapped up.
Actually, fun. Actually, it is Riches. No, Riches and Pot of Greed are the most used pot faces that are used in these. Yeah, you got Riches is in Prosperity, Extravagance, and
Avarice is in Desires.
Oh no. Yeah, and Dectonomy.
Yep.
Okay, so Pot of Greed is used in Duality and Extravagance and Desires.
Oh my god. Wait, does that mean that the next one's gonna have Acquisitiveness in it? Because he's the only one.
You're right. He's the only one, because Benevolence is in Dectonomy.
Yeah, no, it would be acquisitiveness. Oh, hey, maybe it's gonna be.
Maybe it's gonna be
Hell
Jar
yeah.
of Greed and frickin' and Acquisitiveness.
Honestly,
That would
I
be
wouldn't mind if it.
funny
No,
as
I wouldn't
fuck.
mind if it was just a better acquisitiveness. You target 5 banished and then you draw 2. Like literally just
I mean, it would
an
make
avarice
sense
for the
because of
banished one.
bestials right now.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'd play it.
Did you want to get some games in, or were we just doing the chat?
I think I'm probably just gonna stick to the chat because I have to probably head to sleep in give or take 27 minutes.
All right, what? Now you hit me up about this weekend for 2. What did you have in mind for tomorrow's?
Oh yeah, so
Tomorrow's.
tomorrow is going to be then one of the next top 10 videos. Let me grab the little booklet here. So this way we can plan out our next situation.
How many did we come up with? Because I only ever remembered the 2. We did the top 10 one-ofs, and now and
I think we
this.
completely filled out like 4.
We did 4.
I
We
think
did
so.
4 top 10 lists. Right?
Yep.
Christ, we were bored.
Oh yeah, no, we were. Oh,
Yeah, we must. Christ. Okay. What's the next one you want to hit?
I kind of want to do this one next.
What do you got?
Top 10 top 10 Yu-Gi-Oh creators to make ban lists better than Konami.
Oh, you want us to get hated that badly already?
No, I'm just fucking around. No. So we got
you
jar
want-
cards.
Shit, I thought that was gonna be. No. We could. I mean, if you want to do the YugiTuber, the content creator one, we can. I mean, I think it's.
Oh no, we'll do that one. We'll do that one just as a joke one to start out the episode if we want. Just as a little something funny.
Well, no. So what did we got? We got content creators, and then we got what else?
We got content creators just for shits and giggles. That one was just we were like tired and we're really angry at life.
A
Top
good
10
one, though.
jar cards.
Like, I feel like it should be like our 5th top 10 that we've done.
Yeah,
or like
it'll
5th or 10th.
it'll probably be the last top 10 that we do. Top 10
All right, so
favorite main and side staples we have.
ooh.
I think that's it.
Honestly, with the new game that's come out recently, that might have changed.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
So we could probably just do jar cards just to get the, because I think that was the next one we were gonna do, anyways. Because we were gonna do pot cards then jar cards. Jar, dimension jar, stuff like that.
Oh! You mean like Cyberjar and shit like that? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Shit.
Yeah, the flip.
God, I forgot. I forgot. Okay, all right. So yeah, the flip jar cards. Christ, there are 10. There are 10, really?
Mm-hmm.
God, I was surprised when you told me there were 10 pot cards, but there are jar cards.
No, do you want to laugh your ass off? There's exactly 10.
Oh, fuck me! You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Damn funny.
Funny as shit, right?
Okay, all right. So that'd be an easy list. Okay. Shit. All right. Fuck. All right. Yeah. So that'll be tomorrow's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I'll cook up a list, and then I'll get back to you, and then we'll make the list for tomorrow.
You know, because I'm looking at the honorable mentions, and
Mm-hmm.
the only jar card is in there that is a spell card. So like, yeah, we got all the monsters.
I mean, I'm looking at the ones aside from the obvious one. I forgot all about fucking half of these. Holy hell!
Mm-hmm.
Some of these were like right after frickin', you know, a certain cybernetic jar.
Oh.
So freaking funny. All right, okay, yeah.
I mean,
top 10 tomorrow night. That sounds like a plan, Stan.
Actually, what the fuck? Hold up. What's the actual ban list right now? I gotta look at the actual ban list of these. I forgot. Cyberjar's at 1.
What are? Yeah, no, it came off the list. Yeah, the we got. As of right now, all of these, none of there's only 2. No, there's 3 on the list, and only one's forbidden.
Oh god. The all out attack orders loops. I'm thinking about doing some dangerous shit, man. Have you ever seen? I think I've shown you that once. The
What?
the all out attack orders loop with fucking Morphing Jar 2 and reasoning. So the theory behind it is, right, you all out attack orders, basically the only cards you play are like the 3 Morphing Jar number 2, your 1 Morphing Jar number 2, 1 Morphing Jar number 1, and Needlebug.
Oh, okay. All right.
Basically, you activate all out attack orders. It forces everything that's special summoned into defense position into attack position. Specifically face up attack position.
Well, yeah. Well, isn't that what made like Morphing Jar number 2 banned for a while?
Yeah, but all attack orders
because
is very
of stupid
slow.
shit like that. Oh yeah, compared to shit nowadays. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and also you need to wait for them to flip it up in the first place for you to activate. You need more than 1 monster on the field for you to even use it. And they can't be destroying it by battle. The minute they destroy it by battle, you're fucked. Cause the target's gone. But yeah, no. Long story short, it's you need like 2 Morphing Jar number 3 and 1 Needlebug in rotation to get it doing it. So 2 extra monsters that you can shuffle back, and Morphing Jar number 3. And it just rotates to the point where, because you have the all out attack orders flipping the Morphing Jar number 2s and the Needlebug, the Morphing Jar number 2s keep shuffling back till 11.
I thought we were legitimately done after the list. Okay.
No. We're sitting here just chatting.
Right, okay.
That's all this is. We're just chilling here, just chatting. That's it.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. This is the after credits section of the segment. That's all this is. If I ever actually edit this into a video, which will probably never happen because I'm way too lazy. Oh, that's nice. So as I can just kind of go back to here and maybe make it a video out of it if I decide to. I mean, Haver showed, Harvey Cardman showed up. That's pretty nice.
Our one and only fan.
I know, we get you want to laugh, all of our views are after the fact. People watch our stream after.
Yeah, who the hell's up this?
I don't know, good fucking question. I don't know. I don't know why the fuck I'm up this
Who
late.
the hell?
She's already home. I could go to bed. I just want to chill out and talk. This is what I do with my
what
friends.
do we got?
video games.
You brought up.
Go ahead.
So you brought up the tactics that are coming up. That's coming out. Or sorry, thrusting.
Fucking.
No, I got another topic. One of the newer cards that we're waiting on, the time rendering Magnamite or Magnemite.
Oh,
what is it called?
That shit is insane. Here,
Master
I'm just
Rule
gonna
6
throw up the dank plays your jank replays.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just gonna be on stream.
Oh, is it not on EDO Pro?
Oh no, it's on EDO Pro. They're on stream for on YouTube right
Oh,
now.
there it is. Morganite, that's what it's called. Time rendering Morganite.
Yeah, Morganite, yes. No, that shit
that'd be another like top 10. I feel like that would be like another top 10 video. Like we pick a card in like the top 10 decks that can abuse this, or like one of the newer cards. Like thrusting, I think is. You made a good point. Like thrusting is literally the fact that it searches any spell and trap basically will make side decking like so much different going forward for players. Like you don't have to run like 3 copies of you don't have to run 3 copies of Lightning Storm when you can just fucking run like 2 copies of this plus Lightning Storm and whatever other like spell or trap you want to run.
Exactly.
Too much about Lavender Intensive that we had other cookies, and just that's all there is. I didn't want to have to share the rest. They just exist, and you don't need to know what kinds.
They're hiding in my backpack. Those are my cookies forever. But yeah, no. Thrusting is a very nice side deck card. It's literally just another copy of any normal spell or any normal trap in the game. That's all it is. That's literally all the fuck it is. Which it will be immediately fucking smacked on the ban list so quick. It's gonna get so hard.
I mean, people thought the same thing about triple tack, and that's still at 3.
Super like triple
Also,
tack. The reason why I think triple tack is less likely to get hit like that is because triple tack is more of a how should I put it? It's not
I just realized
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I just realized we didn't even have triple tack as like an honorable mention, even though it's literally like it's based on 3 forbidden cards, one of them being Bottle Green.
It's literally based on 2 of the whole. Oh no, I'm wrong about that. I'm tired. Brain, shut up. Brain nowhere today. Oh wow, holy fuck. I'm gonna need to mess with my my frame rate settings next time we stream. It might look a little laggy on the replay.
It's alright.
Yeah, I don't really give 2 shits. It was a kind of impromptu chill stream anyways. I'm not looking to have it be like the best thing ever. My stream quality is normally shit anyways, it's fine.
I'm gonna call it. I'm thinking. What do we got? Today's the 4th.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking the week of the 20th. I'm saying is when they're gonna drop the next list. I'll be surprised if it's like the week of the 14th.
But depending on, I think they do it based on the YCS standpoint.
Yeah, I gotta look up when the next event is because I think you're right. I think it would be the weekend. Yeah, I think the weekend of the 18th. I think is the last event. So yeah, at that point they would probably drop it sometime afterwards, like the following week.
I mean, I really hope they do. It'd be nice to just
we're no after I'm sorry again it's just feeling like I don't know, is it weird saying that it feels like a stale format even though we've had stale formats before that were better than this? Does that make sense?
No, I do understand.
Like we've had well, I don't know, it's weird because I remember playing more when we had when the top 3 decks were Thunder Dragon, Sky Striker, and Orchist, and those were like the top 3 decks for like well over a year. I felt like, but it still didn't feel like as locked down or dull as like this format has been. I don't know why.
So like well, obviously because there was 3 decks in the format that you can just kind of really mess around with. But
Touche, yeah. And there's
other than that,
one deck.
it's because Rogue was really prevalent at the time. You could take whatever fucking Rogue deck you wanted to at that. Like look at I want to say not necessarily last format, when early tier was kicking around with Sprite, but like just before tier limit format hit. Look at how many decks were kicking around. You had Sword Soul Tenyi, you had fucking Fuel Wonderies, you had Striker, you had, I mean, besides Mystic Mine.
Oh Christ, Tri Brigade Zodiac was a deck.
Yeah, exactly.
before tier, like Tri Brigade was a deck.
Exactly, like Dry was around, you know. Drytron was a thing at some
fuck
point.
Me. Oh my god, Drytron too. Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, no,
There were decks that existed. My god.
Yeah, no, you know, Drytron did things.
Just tier limit just basically came in and bitch slapped all the best decks.
Oh no, like straight out, like that it was it, man.
Was it good at stuff when it did its things?
Oh. So back to what I was saying about time rendering, Morganite, which I really hope they change that name when it comes to TCG.
You know they won't.
No, I know. I'm just wondering if like this is like people are calling it Master Rule 6, and I'm wondering if that would actually be the case. I'm wondering if they'll make more cards like this, where it's like literally just.
I hope they literally just name it Master Rule 6.
I'd laugh. I'd laugh if that was the case. It was like fucking Master Rule time rendering. Master
No. I want them to specifically name it Master Rule 6, but put it in a like foreign language. Like I mean, I'm talking like a foreign language from like before language was a thing. Kind of thing where it's just like just literal like scratches on a rock wall in the back of a temple that literally just stands for Master Rule 6.
So you just want it to just be a blank card. Before language.
Basically.
It would just be
No, I just want to see the Yu-Gi-Oh community go entirely nuts trying to decipher what this card's actual translation is. And have them go through like the whole thing and like all this shit, and just to have it say, it's been Master Rule 6 this whole time.
Damn it, Tony! You can't put an undecipherable language on a card. People are gonna read it like the Winged Dragon of raw text because people have watched the anime.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. I need to see some crazy ass kid go down to the nearest Walmart with a dual disc strapped to their arm.
You want some idiot to play this card. He's wearing a bathrobe with his hair spikes. Great beast of the sky. That'd be hilarious. Like I couldn't read the card, so it's like, congratulations, you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player. What's with the bathrobe?
Oh, 100%. This is just sour shots with Carnage 25 and Dank, huh?
I was gonna summon an Egyptian guard with it. Because every Yu-Gi-Oh player would be trying to summon an god because nobody reads their goddamn cards.
See, that would be the best part. Is like they would take all this time to try to decipher this card and never read the card text. They would never Also, like, what the fuck are these ruling? Can you imagine how bad the ruling nightmares are going to be for this card?
Well, with this card?
Yes.
Why? It seems pretty straightforward.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, no. See, it's very straightforward. The people are not very straightforward.
What, you think someone's going to try to draw two after activating it?
No. I mean, well, yeah, probably. Just because players don't read, but... more like you're gonna see conflicting effects happening. You're gonna see players forgetting that they've activated it, and you're gonna see them trying to activate stuff like Bysteals, Fenrir. I mean, like, you can still activate Fenrir because Fenrir is an inherit. Sorry, a special summon that activates without condition. Yeah, fuck it, I'm just throwing up the stream loading sign because I'm lazy. I'm literally just throwing it on here just to give it like just to say that I streamed for an hour and a half.
The artwork's kind of got me curious. Are those the left and right hand, like those magician spells?
Yeah.
Is it really? That's what they're supposed to be?
I'm correct.
Now I'm gonna look up left hand and right hand just to see.
What, the left and right hand of magician? Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be?
No, Google it. Find the fuck up.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, those could easily be them. Magician's left hand and then right hand.
Yeah. Look at all of these replays that will never make it into a video. Because
I know I've sent.
What's up?
I know I've sent you a good chunk of replays that I'm not counting on being made in the videos.
They're all chilling in the in the email for later use.
Yeah, the first deck that comes to mind that's going to abuse this card is Yosinju.
Oh, dude, no,
I know they already.
Oh my god, it's gonna give me a fucking aneurysm. No, alright, no, alright, I got you. No, you wanna know what the fucking what deck is gonna absolutely abuse the shit out of this card? This fucking aura is spirits. If they can get their fucking hands on it. Because think about it. Aratom is a non-once per turn normal summon search.
Question: the Time Lords, they just normal summon themselves, right?
If you control no monsters.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose. Yep.
Yep. Alright, I'm just showing off fucking stream. Fuck it. Bye, guys.